for the second straight week, we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. This time, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens took care of business against Cincinnati, winning 27-24. Lamar looked good. Lamar looked efficient. Passing game was on point. He had a beautiful deep ball, but I think it was even more spectacular catch by Zay Flowers. So I want to know, based on what you saw for the first 2 weeks for the Bengals and Joe Burrow, and the fact that Burrow, as he said, he tweaked his calf already again, were you more surprised about, the Ravens or the Bengals? And is it time for the Bengals to, maybe hit the panic button?
What happened to Odell Beckham? He only had 3 catches, right?
Injuries.
So he got hurt?
Yeah.
29 yards. His pass was 15 yards. That's not Odell Beckham. Was he out of the game early on? I don't know. I was looking at that stat. I was wondering what happened to him. I mean, Nelson Aguilar was the leading receiver. We've seen him perform before. My God.
Former Patriot.
Yeah. It didn't play well for them. They only had 5 receptions for 63 yards, so they spread the ball around. I think Mark Andrews, right? He had 5 catches for 45 yards. So I thought Lamar played really well, right? He spread the ball around, and he had 237 yards, 24-33, 2 TDs, 26 fantasy points. But to me, the difference in this game was the rushing by Baltimore, right? They had 178 yards rushing to Bengals 66 yards. Mixon only had 59 yards for the Bengals. Burrow, he woke up a little bit from last week. It was horrible last week. He 222 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Higgins had 8 receptions, 89 yards, 2 TDs, so he played well, right? The rest of them, I don't know. I think the Bengals they started out poor last year. Right, but if Burrow is going to have this nagging injury for a while, I do think the Bengals have something to worry about, because that wasn't the case last year. They just started out poor. Now they've got him with the potential nagging injury. I think that is worrisome. Who's that backup quarterback? I don't know.
Well, I think his name is Jake Browning. It's something Browning. Yeah,
nobody. Right?
So I'll say this to answer the question of who was I more surprised by. I was much more surprised by the Ravens than I were the Bengals. Because if you take a look at the injury report, the Ravens were out some key pieces. 2 seriously important defensive backs, and Marcus Williams, the free safety, he was out. Marlon Humphrey, the cornerback, he was out. Then on offense, you're down 2 of your best starting offensive linemen in Tyler Lindenbaum and Ronnie Stanley. So I got to hand it to the Ravens here. To be this efficient in the pass game, to be this efficient in the run game, and also to play great defense, I got to hand to the Ravens, being out, some very, very key starters and still coming out with this win. When it comes to, maybe or maybe not hitting the panic button for the Bengals, I'm really tempted to hit that button because of the fact that the only reason why I might be a little bit hesitant to hit it is strictly because we were here last season. We were here when the Bengals were 0-2, and I said the Bengals won't make the playoffs. They have an 11.5, statistically, teams that start off 0-2 in the past, I think, 25 years have had a little bit better than 11% chance. I think it's 11.5% chance to make the playoffs. So I took the field, and I was wrong. The Bengals were a part of that 11.5% chance, last season. This season, it just seems different. And now because Joe Burrow didn't want to rest his calf that he injured in the offseason, I believe at the beginning of August, it's now up to it's really the fact that he re-aggravated it and could be out. He could miss time now at the heading towards the middle of the season, rather than being out maybe the first 2 weeks or so, and then, being healthy enough to continue the rest of the season. Now, he wasn't good enough to play in week 2. He said he re-aggravated it. Now he's not going to be near 100% for week 3 or week 4, which depending on, how their season ends up being, these could be win or go home games already in week 3. So I think it's very, very close to hitting that panic button, because the Bengals defensively couldn't really stop anything. The Bengals offensively couldn't really do anything.
The Ravens, they look pretty good to me, very formidable, particularly the balanced attack, right? Almost 200 yards on the ground, spread amongst 3 runners. Lamar Jackson had 54 yards. Edwards had 62 yards. Hill had 41 yards. So they spread it around, I
Right.
think. And the receiving, too. Spread around to a bunch of receivers there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's shocking is that it seems like it's a finally, but finally it seems like the Ravens have a runner that ran for more yards than Lamar Jackson. I mean, generally Lamar Jackson is their top runner.
Yeah.
So to have Gus Edwards did a really good job, 6.2 yards a carry and a touchdown. Very, very impressive. They ran it. Well, how many? They ran it 37 times, which I think is pretty insane. However, with this Todd Monken offense, it's gonna be a beautiful blend. 33 pass attempts, 37 rush attempts. I mean, that's damn near 50-50, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar was efficient. 5 catches, 63 yards, a touchdown. Zay Flowers had that massive catch in damn near, I think, triple coverage. Great throw by Lamar. Great catch by Zay Flowers. Odell, he's dealing with another injury again.
What's the injury?
Glass bones. I think it's some sort of leg injury again. So it's unfortunate. You pay a guy $18 million and he plays. He catches 3 balls on 4 pass attempts. So
no, if he's hurt, he can't be out there if he's hurt.
that is fair. I don't know. It's very, very impressive to see what the Ravens can do. I thought the Ravens may be a little bit worse this season, just based on they should have been better. I just had a feeling that they'd be one of the teams that were very underwhelming. And let's just say I was gracefully wrong in that regard. They are much better than I was thinking. And the Bengals, Joe Burrow for me was the number 2 quarterback heading into this season. He took a massive hit these first 2 weeks. Hasn't looked all that great. I mean, Jamar Chase, a top receiver in the league. A lot of people have him maybe top 3 or top 4. He's been rendered essentially useless in these first 2 weeks. T. Higgins had a great game. Like you said, 8 catches, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, I got to hand it. Wait, like I said, when people do well, I'll give them their roses. And right now, Jamar Chase does not deserve his because it has been an ugly sight.
Offensive player of the year this year.
That's right. You did have him as offensive player of the year.
He hasn't done anything really yet.
Well, my pick is unfortunate because generally these awards, yes, while they're individual stats, winning games also help. So Justin Jefferson, for me, doesn't look too good for my offensive player of the year. So I don't know. We're both in the weeds for that one, but
Still early.
it is still very, very early. So I don't know. I gotta give it to the Ravens. They played very, very well. Lamar Jackson looked phenomenal. A lot of people say that he's going for his second MVP. I don't think he's there yet. I still would put. Hey, here's the thing. Unpopular opinion, just based on the name, but look at the numbers. Tua right now, and the odds makers agree with me. Tua right now deserves to be MVP. He's past Mahomes, he's past Hurts, he's past everybody right now. He is the number 1 favorite to win MVP. Shocking. I want to since I mentioned MVP.
You know what? I think the wide receivers, excellent wide receivers, help the quarterback out a lot, right? Because you look at Miami's got great receivers, right? Waddle and Hill.
Yeah.
Those guys are elite.
Right.
And you look at and the reason that I feel more strongly about that this year than I have in the past is Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Right? He's throwing to Evans and Godwin. And look at his stats, man. He's doing great.
He threw for over 300 yards.
Right.
And here's the big thing. No interceptions.
Yeah.
No interceptions. And I was actually just about to talk
Evans
about
is
that
having a career year.
He's having a great year.
He had a fantastic game this past weekend.
Yeah, he had a massive catch. It seemed like he was gassed at the end of that catch. But I'll say this. You brought up that game briefly, and I want to talk about that. So when I talked about MVP, right, 2 is the best, it's shocking. A lot of people said I was wrong. Justin Fields looks horrible. He looks absolutely abysmal. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about, we'll look at the tape one day on Justin Fields so far through X amount of weeks. I mean, it seems like he feels like he has 10 seconds in the pocket, just casually dropping back, super slow. I mean, there was a play that was going around social media. He had 3 guys open. I think he saw every single one of them and then just decided to run into his own offensive line to take a sack. I mean, it's bad. So, yeah, shocking. Yeah, plus 2,000 odds for a reason. And it made no sense. It still doesn't make sense how entering this season he was, the most bet player to win MVP. I think it was more so that 1 in 2,000 shot that he gets MVP. But people make a lot of money off of that. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.